It's time for what's become my favorite segment. The best thing about sports and sports talk are the disagreements and the debates and everything that kind of comes with that. And if you're new to the show, first off, thank you for tuning in. No matter how you're tuning in, it's always greatly appreciated. But every Monday, I do the quarterback defense attorney where I defend the Colts starting quarterback, Anthony Richardson. Colts lost yesterday, and people are upset, and they're looking for someone to blame. Now, anytime a football team loses at just about any level, really college and NFL, the guy who takes all the blame is the quarterback. That is the way that the business works. Anthony Richardson said so on Sunday after the loss, right? Like when your team loses, it's probably because you're quarterback. But when your team wins, it's also probably because of your quarterback. This is an exception. Anthony Richardson was bad on Sunday. Okay, I don't want that misinterpreted at all. Anthony Richardson wasn't very good. Okay, I'm going to say it one more time just to make sure everybody heard me. Anthony Richardson was not very good on Sunday. But he wasn't the reason why the Colts lost. And when I say that, a whole bunch of numbers probably come rushing to your head. You're probably like, oh, but Jonathan, Anthony Richardson was 10 of 32 for 175 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. He only ran the ball 6 times for 45 yards. And I will admit that is a bad stat line for a middle school quarterback. Okay, if you watch the game, though, you'll know that the stat line that Anthony Richardson put up doesn't tell the whole story. I can't stand box score watchers. There are people who are going to go on TV shows today and they're going to write articles and their entire evidence is going to be based on that box score. I'm just telling you right now, box score watching is dangerous. If you just box score watch, then you think that Trae Young and LaMelo Ball are good winning basketball players. And that just isn't the case. And it's the same thing here with Anthony Richardson. The box score doesn't tell the full story. And that is the case for most games in every single sport, which is why I watch everything. I watched the Colts game twice yesterday. Okay, I watched it once. I wrote down my thoughts. I wrote down my quarterback defense of Anthony Richardson, and I sat there and I was like, I don't know. I kind of feel a little bit insane. And so I went back and I watched the game again, and I was like, you know what? No, everything I've written down lines up with what I saw. If you watched the game yesterday, you would know that Michael Pittman Jr. had not 1 but 2 drops. You would also know that Michael Pittman Jr. committed an offensive pass interference that called a touchdown back. You'd also know that Adonai Mitchell couldn't get his feet in bounds on a perfectly thrown ball that would have been a touchdown. Alec Pierce had a drop. Will Mallory had a drop. And Tyler Goodson dropped a touchdown pass. Was Anthony Richardson good? No, he wasn't. Could his receivers have helped him out a bit? Undoubtedly so. Undoubtedly. The Colts wide receivers did not do their jobs yesterday. Football, it's the ultimate team game. Okay? When Anthony Richardson puts the ball in the proper spot, which he did multiple times yesterday, and Colts receivers can't hold on to the ball, that is not Anthony Richardson's fault. It's not under any circumstance. Okay? Like NFL wide receivers, when they get their hands on the football, should be able to hold on to it, whether there's a defender on them or not. In fact, when you watch NFL football games, most of the time, when an NFL receiver gets their hands on the ball, there's a defender really close by about to hit them. The Colts receivers and tight ends have to do their jobs. Simple as that. They didn't help Anthony Richardson at all yesterday. Another guy that could have helped Anthony Richardson out, but didn't, was his head coach, Shane Steichen. Look, I've got a lot of respect for Shane Steichen. I like Shane Steichen. I have gone to bat for Shane Steichen, okay, because I thought last year with the backup quarterback in Gardner Minshew, who got benched for Aiden O'Connell in Las Vegas earlier this year, he won 9 games with that guy, okay? And if Tyler Goodson doesn't drop a pass, then the Colts would have made the playoffs last year. Okay, so like I've gone to bat for Shane Steichen, but yesterday he was the reason why the Colts lost, not Anthony Richardson. Okay, I've watched so much football this year. I've watched a lot of Commanders because I have a bet on them to win. I have a bet on them to hit the over 6.5 wins mark. I've watched a lot of Bears because I like watching Caleb Williams play football. And I've watched a lot of Broncos because I bet the over on their 5.5 win total on the year. All three of them have rookie quarterbacks that have all for one played way more than Anthony Richardson. And secondly, they haven't taken a ton of NFL snaps. But the one thing that all three of those teams have that the Colts don't are coaches and play callers that have done things to make playing quarterback in the NFL easier. Let's start with Jayden Daniels, who's going to be Rookie of the Year. Jayden Daniels primarily throws one of two passes. He's throwing something short and quick. He's throwing a slant or a screen, something easy. He's throwing something like that, or he's taking a deep shot, usually to Terry McLaurin. The offense for the Commanders is incredibly simple and easy. They use Jayden Daniels' legs a lot, and they hand the ball off to their running backs a lot, right? They do what they can, play calling wise, to make things easier on Jayden Daniels. Cliff Kingsbury makes Jayden Daniels' life easier, and it's a large part of why they're having such a good season, and it's a large part of why the Commanders are 6-2. When you watch the Bears, when they're going well, because Shane Waldron can have some really bad spots, like deciding to hand the football off to an offensive lineman on the 1 yard line. Okay, I don't know if you watched the Bears and Commanders game yesterday, but geez. Okay, but they asked Caleb Williams to do a bit more than Jayden Daniels, but the offense still looks easier. There's still this occasional bootleg out where they find, a tight end or someone wide open for an easy completion. Okay, like, yes, the Bears asked Caleb Williams to do a lot, but it's nothing like what the Colts ask Anthony Richardson to do. Sean Payton makes things easier on Bo Nix. They move the pocket. They get him out in the open. There's a lot of short passing plays, and then from time to time, they take a shot down the field. When I think back on Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson's early seasons in the NFL, before they were as polished of passers as they are now, guess what they did? They ran the ball a lot, both with their quarterbacks and with their running backs, and it helped their teams move the ball down the field, and it gave them opportunities to win games. Because when your quarterback isn't yet a great thrower of the football, you have to find easy things and easy completions for them. And you have to use their legs. And then I watch Shane Steichen, and I watch this Colts offense, and I don't see anything like that. Shane Steichen didn't do anything yesterday to make Anthony Richardson's life easier. The throws that Anthony Richardson is being asked to make with so little experience is dumb on Shane Steichen's part. Look, we have 10 games worth, because that's how many games Anthony Richardson has started. We have 10 games worth of evidence that Anthony Richardson is not the most accurate quarterback in the NFL. Why is Shane Steichen asking this guy to be a traditional drop back passer? Go back and watch the game yesterday. 69% of the passes that Anthony Richardson threw were past the sticks, which is great on third down. On third down, you should throw the ball past the first down marker. But when it's 1st and 10, there's nothing wrong with running a screen to Josh Downs or Michael Pittman or Alec Pierce. Okay, when it's 1st and 10, there's nothing wrong with running a short slant just to give Anthony Richardson some rhythm. Right? There's nothing wrong on 1st and 10 with allowing Anthony Richardson to run the football. He ran the ball 6 times yesterday, which isn't enough. When you look at Anthony Richardson's 32 pass attempts yesterday, I think this really puts in perspective the terrible job that Shane Steichen did yesterday. When you look at Anthony Richardson's 32 pass attempts, only 10 of them were thrown less than 10 yards down the field. Okay? That means that 22 of Anthony Richardson's 32 pass attempts were further than 10 yards down the field. That's not normal. And more importantly, that's not sustainable. Mahomes and Josh Allen probably throw the 2 best deep balls in the NFL. They don't do that. A lot of passes that Mahomes and Josh Allen make are less than 10 yards down the field. Okay, and there was just everything was a shot play yesterday from the Colts. Okay, 11 of Anthony Richardson's 32 pass attempts were between 10 and 20 yards down the field. Then 11 of them were 20 or more yards down the field. Look, this is basic NFL stuff that I shouldn't have to explain to an elementary school kid. The further you throw the ball down the field for every single quarterback, the completion percentage goes down. The fact that Anthony Richardson threw more passes 20 or more yards down the field than he did throws under 10 yards is insane. There's not a quarterback in the NFL that would have succeeded yesterday in this Colts offense with that, designed passing game of we're just going to chuck the ball deep every single play. That doesn't work. This isn't middle school. Okay? And also, something else that makes a rookie quarterback or a young quarterback in general's life easier is a good running back. And standing alongside Anthony Richardson is one of the best running backs in the NFL. Jonathan Taylor didn't get enough touches yesterday. That's a Shane Steichen play call thing. Every time that Jonathan Taylor touched the ball yesterday, something good happened. He had 20 carries for 105 yards. That's over 4 yards a carry. And he had one reception for 12 yards. That is 21 touches for 117 yards. That is just under 6 yards a touch. I need someone to explain to me why Shane Steichen isn't relying on Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs in the NFL, more. That guy should have 25 to 30 touches every single game. Okay, I've said it throughout this season. Games where Anthony Richardson is throwing the ball 30 or more times, the Colts aren't going to win. He threw it 32 times yesterday. Okay, and it wasn't like the Colts got down big. It was close the entire way through. Shane Steichen has to do a better job of relying on Jonathan Taylor, right? Not putting everything on the arm of Anthony Richardson. Once again, Jonathan Taylor averaged 6 yards a touch yesterday. And speaking of 6 yards a touch, the Colts averaged 6.3 yards a carry between Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor. Why are the Colts throwing the football 32 times with an inexperienced quarterback that has had accuracy issues this year? Why are they throwing the football that much? You have to run the ball more there. You're averaging 6 yards a carry. Why is Shane Steichen opening the game up with 5 straight passes when they have those two guys in the backfield? You've got Jonathan Taylor, a guy who had ran for almost 900 yards in 7 games in his career against the Texans. Why aren't you handing the ball off and running behind Quentin Nelson, who before yesterday and the 3 false start penalties that he had, before that, was playing really well this year? Like seriously, why is Shane Steichen throwing the football so much with a quarterback that we all know is inaccurate and has accuracy issues? When he's got these 2 guys in the backfield, and Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor, that have had a ton of success when running the football this year. Why is Shane Steichen calling a pass from his own 11 with under 40 seconds left in the half, right after Anthony Richardson almost threw a pick 6 on the previous play? Like, why is that happening, right? And then obviously, as we all know, 3rd and 3, Anthony Richardson throws an interception, which is on Anthony Richardson because he made the decision. But the truth of the matter is the ball never should have been thrown in that spot. Okay? And once again, the Colts were going to get the ball to open the second half. Given how bad the Colts were in the first half, you would have thought that they'd have been happy being tied 10-10 going into halftime. Okay, that was the single biggest play of the game, and it happened because Shane Steichen was over-aggressive. Also, when the Colts did throw the ball, everything was outside the numbers. There were no slants. They ran the one screen to Jonathan Taylor early. None of the passes were easy completions. Most of them were deep shots down the sideline. I don't care who your quarterback is. When you're consistently throwing the ball further than 20 yards down the field, which the Colts did, on over a third of their passing attempts, your completion percentage is going to be low. And the other thing is that the offensive line wasn't good. The Texans pressured Anthony Richardson on 25 of his 39 dropbacks. That is 64% of the time. Anthony Richardson finagled his way out of, 3 or 4 sacks, but he was sacked 5 times and he was hit 8 more times. So please, can someone explain to me, when the Houston Texans pass rush is getting home, why are you running routes that take forever to develop? When teams are blitzing and they're getting pressure, you have to get the ball out fast. That's what the Houston Texans did. Go back, watch the game. The first half, that Colts pass rush was getting home quickly. So what did Houston do? Hey, we're going to run some slants. We're going to run some shorter routes so that the pass rush can't impact our quarterback. There was no adjustment like that from the Colts yesterday. Everything was still down the field. Okay? And look, this offensive line has to be better. You can't allow your quarterback to get pressured that much. You can't give up 5 sacks. Okay, look, I saw some people on Twitter being dumb yesterday, talking about how Anthony Richardson got sacked with a 3-man rush. That's not Anthony Richardson's fault. The offensive line, there's 5 of them, should have been able to block 3 guys. Okay? The offensive line is supposed to be a strength for the Colts. That is something that we were sold on all offseason. It's something that we've been sold on the entire Chris Ballard era. And it was bad yesterday. There's not a quarterback in the NFL. There's not one. Mahomes, whoever, not a quarterback in the NFL who would have succeeded yesterday, given the drops from the wide receivers, the lack of protection from the offensive line, and the terrible deep shot only play calling that we got from Shane Steichen yesterday. Was Anthony Richardson bad? Yes. But his receivers didn't help him, his offensive line didn't block, and his head coach and play caller didn't help him out even a little bit. So yes, Anthony Richardson was bad yesterday, but to place that loss on him is fundamentally wrong. That loss goes square on the shoulders of Shane Steichen, who clearly needs to make some adjustments to the offense. Because I'm telling you right now, they're playing the Vikings next week on Sunday Night Football, who blitzed more than any other team in the NFL. If Shane Steichen really thinks that Michael Pittman Jr. and Josh Downs and Adonai Mitchell are going to have time to get 10, 15, 20 yards down the field consistently, he is wrong. And we're going to be in for another ugly day of Colts offense. The loss yesterday, firmly on the shoulders of Shane Steichen, not Anthony Richardson.